priority is for people who have never had children before, and they must be married for at least 5 years, because it's only after 5 years that you can really say that there might be a challenge with infertility one way or the other. And we do provide, as it were, medical support. At least the least we can do is to tell you what your medical history is and what you can do.
We have certain criteria that we have drawn up for those who are going to apply, and the first one will be all applicants are going to apply through the website. Our website is www.Ibidunni Ighodalo Foundation.org. All applications are going to be all applicants are going to apply through the website. Secondly, all applications must be supported by an official means of identification.
So far, the foundation has sponsored about 13 IVF treatments. The foundation is looking for between 80 to 150 million naira to see this process through.
And we have to celebrate, encourage, and support those kind of foundations, because as we know, government can't do everything. Foundations, NGOs must fill the gap. They must step in the gap and try and give those services that government cannot.
A lot of people have been extremely generous. I don't want to mention names. 1 or 2 men in government or high places, responsible people, when they heard about this thing, they just sent money. Even till today, in the foundation account, monies are coming in, trickling in every day, because Nigerians can be generous if you appeal to them. And one of the reasons for this conference and this press conference is to appeal to well-meaning Nigerians to please come to Macedonia and help us to do this thing.
Ibidunni's birthday will be celebrated this weekend. The family believes that sustaining her legacy will prove beneficial to humanity.
So much energy, so much drive, so much intelligence, and so much strength, with a desire to live life and live life to the fullest. Not only was she beautiful outside, she was beautiful inside. And then about 4 years later, she agreed to be my wife. And I made up my mind that whatever it took me, I would support her to fulfill her dream. And the founder of this foundation had many dreams. One of her dreams was to be a billionaire by the age of 40. But I'm sure that where she is, she's much more than a billionaire. She had dreams of establishing perhaps the greatest event planning company in the world. She had dreams of serving humanity to the fullest. She was generous to a fault. She had dreams of developing people. She had dreams of worshiping God with everything she had and becoming truly outstanding. And she had dreams of starting a family, raising beautiful children who would serve the Lord. After about maybe 10 years of marriage and 11 failed IVFs, she changed one of her dreams, not just to physically having children, but to ensuring that she could make it possible for every lady who desired to have children, or every family who desired to have children, to have their own, regardless of their financial status. Having done procedures of this nature herself, each one costing between 3 and 4 million naira, depending on where you did it. Some of them had to be done abroad. So when you factor in air travel, hotel, and all sorts of things, it was indeed a very pricey venture. And in the course of her treatment, she came across quite a few young ladies, or even older women, who had to go through this procedure, the pain, the trauma, the challenges, the emotions of sometimes failed procedure, and then of course the financial burden on both husband and wife. And then one morning in the year 2016, she woke me up and said she was going to start the Ibidunni Ighodalo Foundation to look after as many women as possible, that God would help her to support to have their own children. She encouraged adoption, and she said those who didn't want to adopt were quite welcome to go through procedures. And I said to her, how much will this procedure cost? I said, you know how much you've been paid? I said, that's a lot of money. 2, 3, 4 million per procedure. Her reply was that God will help us. God will help us. And as soon as she said us, I knew she had roped me into this foundation for life. She said, you are going to be the chairman, Titi Adenuga will be on the board, and then I will manage the project. And that is how we started. And she started with a lot of passion. She was going to have what they call the Couples Day Out, where she had a full day of events introducing scientific methods of reproduction, emotional challenges people went through reproduction, even family counseling for husband and wife who needed to be on the same page, and then she added a spiritual angle. Without the help of God, some of these things may not work. And therefore she brought pastors and ministers to speak to reproduction from a spiritual perspective and to pray for those who were believing God for the fruit of the womb. And then she brought people who had been through this trauma before to recount their own experiences. I think in one of those situations, Mrs. Zacchaeus, who also had a delay for her second child, brought her book in God's waiting room to give to some of the people. And that is how, in 2016, this foundation started. And I believe the first set of people we took were about 12 of them. 12 of them, of which about we had 40% success, and including a set of twins. And whenever babies were born through the foundation effort, you could see the excitement, the light, the brilliance in my wife's face, and all the joy. And sometimes the newspapers will report, Ibidunni, God has a set of twins. And then people will be calling me up to congratulate me that, welcome to the twins. And I'll say, no, we had the twins, but the twins were had through us, and they belong physically to another people. My wife's desire with this foundation was to ensure she brought happiness and joy to as many as she could. And then around December this year, last year, I beg your pardon, or February this year, I think, when we're looking forward to her 40th birthday, and that was before the COVID situation, I was thinking, because my wife also likes good things, that she would demand of me out of town, or what they call this, destination birthday celebration, this and that, and I began to walk in my mind how much this was going to set me back, because she does love good things. And I said to her, Ibidunni, what would you like for your 40th birthday? She looked at me and said, nothing really for me, but it is my desire that I support 40 couples to have their own children. That is what I desire for my birthday. It wasn't a sigh of relief, because that was going to be even more expensive than a destination ceremony. But I said, how are we going to find the money? Again, she said to me, God will provide. I knew that this would cost between 80 to 120 million mentally, straight away. And I said, well, God indeed will provide. And that was her dream, that was her desire. She began to work on it immediately. She began to tell her friends. So in fact, one of the very, very last texts she sent was to a lady called Ituah Ighodalo at 11:18 p.m. the night before she passed. And she says, Ikoyi, I am doing 40 by 40 for my birthday. Begin to plan with me and begin to help me run this thing, something along those lines. And Ikoyi showed me the text after she passed. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, on the 14th day of June, the year 2020, my wife passed. It was one of the very, very challenging days of my life. And it has been, since that time, a very, very difficult time. But we thank God for grace. We thank God for his hope, we thank God for his strength, and we thank God for being who he is. And since everybody knew that this was my wife's desire, my brother, myself, her family, my friends, and her friends decided that whatever it cost us, we would ensure that 40 couples got the opportunity to go through the procedure, and hopefully we'll get a 40 by 40, 100% response because of the grace of God. We cannot go through this journey alone, and therefore this is also a call for support, for members of the public to support us financially, to give grants, to give donations. Quite a few of them have responded. Some of our friends have come together, contributed. Some of our old girls from FGC, Oyo, have come together. Even her classmates in the University of Lagos came together and sent us a check, and a few other private individuals.